Hello and welcome back to another video for Final Fantasy XIV with me, Meoni. This time a discussion video talking about the latest brand new Alphano attire that made its way to the Mog Station, or the Final Fantasy XIV online store as it's now known, as of the 30th of March 2021. This then is an interesting topic because I think that people will have very different opinions on this, and of course mine in this video are my own. These are my opinions, no one else's, and yours might be very different. We're all entitled to opinions at the end of the day, so try to respect that as much as possible, but I do want some constructive and interesting discussions in the comment section if possible, and try to keep that civil where possible as well. We're not going to sling mud at people because that's infantile at the end of the day. So if you're not aware, the brand new Alphano's attire is about £8.63 on my store. Your regional equivalent will be on screen now. Essentially, this outfit is a one-piece. Now, my problem with one-piece outfits has been mentioned before when we had the Charlian Prodigy attire, which is also a one-piece. So what I mean by a one-piece is that this is a chest piece that equips to your chest slot, but disallows you to have a pair of gloves, legs, or boots equipped because it takes up those slots in that chest piece. This can be negated in terms of glamour potential by using a glamour plate, using the glamour plate system in the glamour dresser, which is something that obviously we would do. The outfits themselves are undyeable, which doesn't come as any surprise because this is something that we have forever known to be the case, unfortunately, with themed sets around characters, especially the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, of which this is also related. So the dyeable nature not being dyeable, that's not really a concern in the slightest. Well, it is a concern to the greater populace, and obviously opinion-wise, I would prefer them to be dyeable, but it's not a shock to me. What is actually quite shocking is that this piece of gear is essentially putting a chest piece, some hands, some legs, and some boots in one item. The problem then is that glamour at the end of the day is all about mixing and matching items to produce your own style. A lot of people purchase sets, including a lot of the previous costume sets, let's call them, for Scions of the Seventh Dawn, and have mixed and matched various parts from those with other items in the game or other cash shop items, some of them obviously dyeable, to match those and to make unique looking outfits. Because at the end of the day, as much as this is a really cool thing, not everybody inclusively will want to look like Alphano all the time. Some of the really key parts to really pay attention to, especially on this new set, is the wonderful looking boots, or at least the bottom section of this chest piece, because that's what it is. These boots would be amazing as a separate item. I'm not asking for dyeability, but in my opinion, they should be a separate item. This comes across, I mean, it's very difficult for it not to come across as a slightly lazy decision, but obviously I don't know the ins and outs of the production process of these items. I just feel that this is unfortunate in a very large way, especially when you're spending large amounts of money on the cash shop. Again, optional, these are not pay-to-win items, they don't have stats on them, but it would be nice if we went back to the idea of having separate pieces to each set. Now, I'm not sure how much further that pushes development cost on these items. I'm not a game developer, or I certainly don't work for Square Enix, but it seems to me that this is the least desirable way of doing it, and a lot of people are rather upset about this, and quite rightfully so in my opinion. I personally would love these gloves, for example. They would be great to use on other sets. The chest piece itself could be mixed and matched with other leg pieces and boots, but unfortunately we're stuck with only having the option of changing a helm. That's the only equipable part with this that's going to be visible, apart from obviously, some accessories such as earrings. But we can look like Alphano with a chocobo helm. That's fantastic. but it still comes across a little bit unfortunate that we can't go, oh, those boots are nice, let's switch those in. And I think it also decreases the profitability of a set for Square Enix themselves when they're selling an item, because less people, at least from what I've noticed anyway, from the feedback we've seen on the Charlian suit before, less people would actually purchase an item if this thing is not dyeable. Even less people will purchase the item if it is a one piece with no dyeable options as well. So that's really where my standpoint comes from. I would like to understand the decision-making process behind this, and I would love to actually ask Square Enix themselves or somebody in the future, if they have the ability to ask Yoshi P some questions. This is something that needs to be asked, really, and really addressed. I don't think many people have made their voices very well heard, apart from just shouting occasionally on Reddit. Now, as much as the Final Fantasy XIV staff do actually visit Reddit, I don't think really that feedback has been known. So obviously I would still point people towards the official Final Fantasy XIV forums themselves and give some feedback, obviously constructively, which is what I'm trying to do here. Again, like, if this set was anything like the old ones, then I'd be 10 times happier. This time around, though, they have sort of justified the price a little bit further by including a hairstyle, which, of course, hairstyles are fully changeable in terms of the dye options that you have for your hair, including highlights. And we featured that in the video. If you want to look at a breakdown of all of what that looks like in different styles, please go along to that other video. That will be linked in the description that we did earlier today. But it just feels weird, you know, like you get a hairstyle. Are we paying for the hairstyle and we're getting a free one-piece outfit that we're not going to use, or are we going to put this from a perspective of the chess piece is something that's the main focus? I personally think that if they just sold the hair separately for a much lower price, maybe even half the price, I think people would buy it straight away with much more desirability. It's also not immediately known that you get the hairstyle with it unless you click on the item on the MOG station itself. Maybe they need to add a new section of hairstyles, or comes complete with hairstyle. That would be nice as a filter. The filters on the store itself are frankly abysmal when you're trying to search for something specific. Same goes for the actual Square Enix merchandise store as well. Those filters don't seem to work properly. It just seems like this is a very unusual approach towards making new sets. Now, I'm slightly fearful for future sets now, because a lot of people have been asking for Graha Tier's attire, and that could be a very real possibility, especially since they've added yet and again another outfit for him. Now he is, you know, further in the storyline, let's say, without spoiling anything. You know, like there is a new outfit associated with that character, especially the old outfit. So we might probably see that down the line, considering his current status. I don't know. I'm looking at this Alphino set and I'm thinking, are they going to do Alisae's next? Is that going to be a one piece? Now, positives that we can take from this is that whilst it is a one piece and you can assign it to a glamour thingy and it won't take up those slots if you put it on a glamour plate, other positives are that it's equipable by all jobs in the game and all classes level 1 and above, so you can make crafters look great. And it's also gender unlocked, which is one of the things that usually is an issue on the actual cash shop itself. A lot of gender locked costumes come out with, you know, other variants, but sometimes you just want to wear the other variant. You know, what's wrong with wearing a shirt and some trousers, you know, some leggings, some male-looking leggings on a female character, and vice versa. I personally don't see a problem with that, especially considering we already have some rather elaborate costumes in the game that are already equipable by both genders. It's a valid point that it does have that positive thing going for it. However, I do think that this replacement of a body, as well as hands, legs and feet, is kind of breaking away from the flexibility of what Glam is all about, and really does limit the amount of usability for it. And you're not going to see that many people use this unless they're trying to recreate Alphino or any of the other characters to a T. You're not going to see that. In contrast with the Kryl outfit that was released previously towards the end of Stormblood, that had multiple potentiality because the hood was separate. For example, that headpiece, which is very iconic to Kryl, but people were making raincoat glamours, you know, the raincoat that you can actually craft in the game, dyeing that yellow, and it looked incredible. You could have a really unique looking, almost chocobo looking outfit, you know. Same goes for Y'shtola's Brave attire, like the brave new Y'shtola attire, which I also own. The fingered glove, like where you've got one finger covered on the gloves, is fantastic. The dress is great. The boots, I've used those boots, like the Brave New Y'shtola boots, so many times in Glamour because they're, you know, they're thigh high and they're some of the nicest detailed, non-pixelated, perfectly, you know, proper leather looking jet black boots you can get in the game from the cash shop. I love that set. So I'm a little bit fearful that we're going to go this direction, since this is the second set that we've seen that's just compiled it into one item. I'm not a fan of this personally, and I don't think overall it really benefits the game, and certainly doesn't increase the sales figures. You've got to ask yourself the question, how easy is it to split this one item into 4 items? Is it going to be that difficult? I'm not asking for dyeability because they haven't got prior dyeability to the sets, but how hard can it be? And that's easy for me to say because I have no interest or, you know, any experience in game development, nor working for a company like this. But I think this is poor show, honestly, in terms of Glamour choice. The only reason I think that people will inflate those figures of sales is because they would like the hairstyle, and it is a really nice hairstyle. I'm not going to argue with anybody there. It's a fantastic hairstyle and usable by both genders. I mean, you know, it's incredibly fun to have Alphino's hairstyle on a female Miqo'te. Looks great. Other gripes that I do have, though, is, again, this is another hairstyle released without Viera and Hrothgar interaction. You know, you can get the hairstyle if you buy it on your Hrothgar and Viera, and you can use the chest piece, but you can't change your hair. It's just yet another reason not to play those two particular races, and it's very unfortunate, I think. That's certainly something I would like to see focused on development in the future for in terms of aesthetics, before we add any other variants of races or anything like that. But again, these are all my opinions. Let me know what you think about this. I'm a little bit annoyed, as you can probably tell. Let me know if I'm wrong, if I'm speaking complete gibberish, and that if you know anything about the development process and how long this takes, please do let me know, as you always do. Try to keep it civil in the comment section, and I'll see you all next time.